With The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 21 now officially out on Disney+, a lot of fans are looking forward to seeing exactly what Chapter 22 has to offer next week, and exactly where we go from there. Now, given that the Ahsoka Tano series is currently in post-production, and it's moving along quite smoothly, by the way, by Dave and John, to really kind of give us the mythology of the franchise, the return of Jedi lore, the cosmic force, the unknown regions, all those great aspects of Star Wars will be the main focus of the Ahsoka series. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, as we of course have seen with John and Dave, is that they've been talking a lot more directly to the fans about their goals, their ambitions in life, especially with the franchise, and exactly what they actually have in store for future Star Wars shows that, by the way, will be announced at this year's Celebration event, and mostly, and I say mostly, at D23 later this year. That's where you're going to get the most announcements, where a full slate of Star Wars shows will be unveiled that'll reach all the way up until 2025. Now, with that being put out there and said, what's really intriguing has a lot to do with Gina Carano. Now, as you all know, it's been well over 2 years since Gina was fired by Kathleen Kennedy in the worst way possible, through social media and through other tactics, of course. But we also know that Jon Favreau has been talking more and more about the situation, and of course about how it impacted the Star Wars community, and had a couple of things to recently say to the actual Star Wars fans. Now, we already know that Favreau is like a fan-driven guy, right? He likes talking to the fans and stuff around those lines. So, however, beyond that, is that right now Disney and Lucasfilm are gearing up to announce many new projects to the community, as well as making some important decisions that will change the brand. However, recently Jon Favreau came forward to talk about the Gina Carano firing and the rehiring plan, and potential it has to put ease to the community. Favreau stated the following after discussing the latest Mando episode. "If you want my honest 2 cents about what I think about the situation, is that this was done in a very unprofessional way that I just couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe it at all. Peyton couldn't, and he was just absolutely frozen when he heard the news and when I heard the news. And even Dave was just so upset about how it all happened so suddenly. I am not here to take sides with anybody because I feel it's not my business to interfere, but of course business is business, and I think that they made a very bad call and some bad judgments against Gina. It just wasn't right to her and to us because we had Season 3 pretty well mapped out, and losing her at the time, it really forced us to change the script drastically." So let me pause here quick for a second. Now, Favreau is confirming that Gina and her departure when she was fired, it really created a big impact on their plans for Mando Season 3. Now, at the time, they didn't have a full script written, mind you, but they were writing Mando Season 3 at the time. They were gearing up for it. And so, this really does kind of raise a couple of questions, right? How significant was Gina really going to be in the 3rd season? Well, apparently she was going to have a way bigger role than how she had in both Season 1 and Season 2, so you can only imagine what kind of scenes had to be shifted around or erased or changed because of her departure. Now, here's the thing about this, is that Jon Favreau was also putting her into Rangers of the New Republic, and once she got fired, that project fell apart, because she was going to be like the main character, or close to the main character in that actual story. So, the thing about Favreau here is that, yeah, he is admitting that whatever Lucasfilm did, what Kathleen Kennedy did to Gina, the way that they handled the entire scenario was very unprofessional. And I like how John just puts it out there flatly like that, because it is what it was. It was very unprofessional. It was. You could have at least, and I know I've said this many times, but you could have at least given her a phone call, an email, or even a call into the office. Anything to kind of just give her closure officially face to face would have been more professional than what happened on Twitter through hashtags, right? And even after that, she didn't get a call. She just kind of found out that way, and that was it. You know, she had to just walk off, and that was it. So, on to the next thing here about what Favreau has to say is actually something very intriguing too, is that on top of that, he goes on to say it just wasn't right to her and to us because we had season 3 pretty well in the works. The silver lining to this, however, is that we have noticed some form of remorse from those above, and that they are looking for a remedy on how we can make things right with the fans. And it's something that myself and Dave have been giving much thought and working on, and talking absolutely, of course, with them for a while now, but I really can't jump into details. We believe in second chances, we believe in making people happy, and Gina is just so fun to be around and to work with, and I never had any issues with her at all, John says. Now, the thing about Jon Favreau, let me just stop here quick before I get to the last thing that he has to say, is that Jon has admitted this before in the past, that Gina is very fun to work with. She's never caused any kind of problems behind the scenes, and was never toxic in nature. She was just very much a bubbly, personality-driven person that just really got along with mostly everybody, and regardless of that personality, people were going for her. Well before she was posting what she was posting on Twitter, people over at Lucasfilm were going for Gina Carano, trying to find ways, petty reasons mind you, to get her fired. Even Gina talked about this in past interviews as well. Now, lastly, he goes on to say, I was pretty surprised that there was no apology given to Gina. And I was actually pretty surprised too, by the way, guys. Not one apology, and it's something that I have never seen before in my days working in the film industry, Jon states. I have never seen anything like that with no remorse, and this is why I think it's best that we try to create a remedy for the fans and for Gina. We are working on it. Let me just say that much to everybody right now. So, once again, I mean, Jon Favreau really laying it out there exactly how he feels about her firing and what his teasing, of course, of the rehiring plan, of that whole remedy and how they can fix the overall scenario is interesting. It really is, because as you all know, Bob Iger right now, the Disney CEO, is trying to really create his own legacy of Star Wars and trying to fix the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well after Quantumania really failed at the box office terribly. They really are trying to turn both franchises around right now by focusing specifically on what they just need to do instead of what they have to do beyond, the essentials. He himself even said stuff like that with the MCU, like, do we really need a 4th movie of a specific brand, or a 5th one? Maybe not. Let's just move on to something else then. So it makes a lot of sense why they are focusing more on quality than quantity in order to really achieve their proper goals and to make better driven stories. And that's his overall new approach. He wants to bring Star Wars back to theaters. He wants to make them very quality driven projects, and that's why they're very careful right now with announcements. So anyways, guys, with that being put out there, I'm very intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about Jon Favreau's point of view on this, about Gina's firing and his teasing about her getting rehired again with that whole remedy thing. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.